Hello everyone, I'm Luxon, and it's actually been a pretty long time since my last video. If you're home for the holidays or just off or whatever, I hope you're having a good time. And if you're still working or something during this time period, thank you for keeping the world running in our absence. About the whole no videos thing. The original plan was to start like a new 3-part series thing. There was a Splatoon update on December 4th that I was going to do a video about, but then they announced that there was going to be another update, and that released on the 18th, and by the time I was ready to start doing that, it was Finals Week, and I had the one Xenoblade video planned for Finals Week, so things didn't go very well in terms of giving me time to make the videos I wanted to do, but I'm going to start making that 3-part Xenoblade series soon, and this video is going to be a combined Splatoon 2 patch review of 4.3.0, which released on the 4th, and 4.3.1, which released on the 18th. It's gonna be a bit rapid fire. Haven't played much Splatoon in the interim there. I don't think I've played a single game in 4.3.1 because Smash was already out by that time. So, things might be a little awkwarder than they usually are, especially because I'm probably going to talk about the same stuff twice and, like, iterate over something that was changed in one update. But, we'll see what's up here. And these are some pretty interesting changes that I don't really know what to say about. I wasn't expecting them to do this for their next big update. So, 4.3.0 changed some gear abilities. The new abilities Bomb Defense Up DX and Main Power Up were added. Bomb Defense DX is literally just a combination of Bomb Defense Up and Cold Blooded. It's just not Cold Blooded. Is it Cold Blooded or Haunt? Bomb Defense Up DX is Bomb Defense and Cold Blooded. Okay, I was right. I need to stop questioning myself. So, they literally just took Bomb Defense Up and Cold Blooded, and they made them the same ability. They took the two least used abilities and made them one ability to try to get people to use them more. I don't think it really works that much. It's not doubling its effectiveness, it's just combining two negative numbers, or two numbers less than 1. You're not going to hit 1, you're not going to hit a threshold where people will all of a sudden start using it again. But then, in order to keep the amount of abilities the same, they also added Main Power Up, which sounds like it's a huge thing. But in practice, it isn't. If you think about it, Special Power Up was a new thing for Splatoon 2. Sub Power Up was basically Bomb Range Up, but it did stuff for other weapons. Main Power Up is basically that same thing. It's an evolution of Damage Up. So, you know, like some weapons it has Damage Up. It has a different effect for every main weapon, even within classes. Different weapons get different effects. I won't be going over all of these. But some of the effects are Damage Up, some of the effects are not Damage Up. With Bomb Range Up to Sub Power, it makes a bit more sense because literally everything that didn't get a buff from Bomb Range Up just got a different thing in Splatoon 2 from that. And anything that did get Bomb Range Up just got Bomb Range Up again for the most part. But it's interesting. I really, in all honesty, haven't played enough with it to really give my opinion on it. But it gives a lot of accuracy to the gals, which I play, which is really nice. And it generally helps out a lot of the weapons I like, so I like it on that front. I don't know. Anyway, for Bomb Defense and Cold Blooded, every instance of it of both of those abilities has been changed to DX. So, it's not one of them gets updated and the other one gets turned to main power, even though it is also an available sub-ability. It basically works the same way as sub and special power. It's just for main weapons. But they're making you start fresh. No one had any main power up when they first booted up a 4.3 file, unless they'd already bought some gear with it from the shop. Drink tickets for either of them were combined to Bomb Defense DX, and already active drinks on the off chance you were wearing a Cold-Blooded or Bomb Defense drink when it updated and you were partly through it, you got replaced with that. Inkline brand, which was the favored brand for Bomb Defense, is now more likely to get Bomb Defense DX. And Anaki, which was previously Cold-Blooded, will now get Main Power Up, which I actually like a lot, because Anaki is a new brand. So it makes a lot of sense for me for them to have a new ability as their favorite ability. Cold-Blooded was an old one. Granted, Cold-Blooded didn't work the way it did in this game, but also shut up. Changes to multiplayer. Black Belly Skate Park got a huge terrain change, which kind of interesting. I don't know how to feel about it. They got rid of the big thing in the middle on a few modes, which makes me sad, because there's a great story about Tenatech riding the Ding Dong that occurred because that giant thing exists in the middle of Black Belly, and now it's not there as much, which I genuinely don't know how to feel about that, but I'm sure I'll get over it at some point. Specifications for some main weapons have been changed. Mini and Zinc Mini, basically, run speed does, Mini, Heavy, and Hydra Splatling, oh, hit my pop filter, I'm sorry. All types of the 3 basic Splatling classes. Run speed now does more for them, basically. You run better. All versions of Vanilla Charger, including scopes, slightly narrowed spread of ink created by shots. Charger paints worse now. That means nothing in the grand scheme of things. If you are focusing on painting as a Charger, you are playing Charger terribly. So everyone complaining that it's a nerf, it isn't. Stop. Tentabrella, Tentasorella, increase durability of Umbrella by 13%, and increase damage dealt to Umbrella after launching it by 20%. Basically, it defends you better when it's on your body, but it's slightly easier to destroy when it's launched out, which makes more sense. I guess people were launching it more than they were using it to defend themselves, so they decided to change it to try to get people to play a little more defensive with it, I guess. Sub-weapons were changed. Auto bombs now takes a third of a second, 20 full frames less time to start following its target after it's launched. Ink Mine and Sprinkler, as well as Point Sensor, Beacon, and Fizzy Bomb, all got Ink Saver sub buffs. That is, you save more ink from using that ability. Point Sensor got ink consumption decreased to 55%, which, coupled with the Ink Saver sub buff, means it's very easy to get double Point Sensor, which is pretty interesting. Fizzy Bomb decreased time after use before ink recovery begins by roughly 10 frames. I'm not that big of a fan of Fizzy Bomb, honestly, so it doesn't really matter too much to me, so whatever. Special weapon changes. Tentamissiles now paint better. Specifically, special power up, the effect it has on their ability to paint was made better. Splashdown now deals more damage to Brellas, and Baller. Basically, it's got a little bit of Object Shredder built into it now, but only for those 2 things, so it's not really Object Shredder. Baller also got damage buff to Brella. Ultra Stamp was buffed a lot, because when it was first introduced, it was good for maybe the first rotation, when people didn't know how to combat it. Then they figured it out, and it was really easy. So they're making it harder to get hit from the front, easier to control, and faster. So just all around, it's usable now, basically. Stingray finally got the nerf a lot of people thought it deserved. Decreased duration by 35 frames. Decreased effect granted by special power-up, which is duration. Decreased ink armor and baller damage, 56% and 25% respectively, and decreased knockback to ballers. Inkjet also got baller damage decreased by 30%, so I guess they're just trying to rebalance specials in relevance to each other now, which is kind of interesting. I like that way, because specials were originally kind of supposed to be big rock, paper, scissors, and I like how they're trying to bring it back to that, even though a lot of things have changed in the meta since then. A few gear abilities were changed. Run speed up first only gave a significant boost to speed while firing a Splatling, but now you'll also get significant run speed buff while you're charging the Splatling as well, so a lot of Splatlings were made a bit more dangerous when they have run speed equipped, which, I don't know, if you were running Mini, you probably had it equipped. I don't know if you had it for Hydra. I still wouldn't say using it for Hydra, but you do you. Swim speed up. When using weapons that feature lower movement and swim speeds, aka heavy weapons like E-Liter or Dynamo, swim speed up will, it basically had its diminishing returns curve changed for those weapons and those weapons specifically. So basically they give a bigger buff at a lower amount of that ability, I guess to make it a bit easier to get it back on the same swimming tier as a non-heavy weapon. Ink res up. When using this gear ability, players avoid taking damage for a brief time after stepping into an opponent's ink. So not only does the damage you take from that and the movement penalty decrease, or the amount damage, the speed at which damage stacks up decreases, I believe, but you're also just immune to damage for a little bit, which is kind of ridiculous. And the length of time before you take damage also increases with the amount of the ability you have. So basically they're adding in another power for ink resist. Thermal ink got its duration changed by roughly 4 seconds, which I don't know. I don't use thermal ink. I don't know many people who do use thermal ink, so what am I going to say? Points required for using specials have been changed for certain main weapons. Kensa L3 Nozzle Nose and Octobrush. L3 Nozzle Nose and the Octobrush, not the L3 Octobrush. Both got buffed from 190 to 180. Kensa Splattershot Jr. got nerfed 190 to 200. And Regular Brella got nerfed 190 to 200, so nothing huge in terms of those changes there. I'll go over the latest set of Kensa collection stuff after all the other update things, but other than that, yeah. Let's see. Everything else is bug fixes, and since this is a double review, I'm just going to completely skip them instead of skimming them like I did last time. I'll do that for 3.1 as well. Depending on the size of future updates, I may continue to do that. I may not. I have no idea how I do this stuff, honestly. It changes day to day. But now we're moving on to 4.3.1, which was a few bug fixes because, unsurprisingly, they added a few bugs in 4.3, and this one has a bit more actual balance changes in addition to, hey, we put stuff in the game new. Sploosh and Neo Sploosh got a buff to their main power up, which I don't want to have to pull up a main power table to see what it does for each weapon, but I might have to at this point because it looks like a lot of stuff is related to the effect of main power, because I had to rebalance main power after they added it, but it looks like a lot of these explain things already, so. Sploosh and Neo Sploosh main power is more effective. Increase the amount of additional damage that can be dealt when maxed out on main power from 20% to 25%, so basically main power makes it deal more damage. Arrow Spray, the effect provided by main power, is now more easily triggered even with fewer instances of the ability equipped. I have no idea what that means. It must be like an accuracy buff or something. I have no idea. Squeezer Foil Squeezer also got a main power damage buff, but only for the initial long shot. Short shots didn't have that, didn't have an additional buff. I'm assuming it still increases damage, but the additional scaling does not apply. All versions of regular roller, including Krakon and Kensa, adjusted the rate of damage drop-off over distance for vertical swings. The drop-off over distance for 50%, so basically past the 50% threshold, is less severe, so it's easier to deal 50% or more damage. I accidentally closed out a tab I wanted to have open. I'm sorry, Google Chrome. The distances at which a vertical swing will deal 100% and 50% damage remain unchanged. So basically, the range at which you insta-kill is the same. The range at which you do damage in between 50 and 100 is the same. But the drop-off from 50 to less is less severe, so you could deal more damage out the outer edge of your range. Due to this change, a vertical swing from these rollers will no longer deal less damage than the same attack from a carbon roller, regardless of distance. Yeah, it was kind of stupid that was actually a thing, that you could hurt more with a carbon at distance than a vanilla. So I'm glad they changed that. All brushes got a buff to the effect of main power up, which makes you run faster while you're inking the ground. The amount at which it increases your speed is still kind of minimal, so I have no idea how useful that actually is, but it's there. I don't even think they're trying to make brush relevant anymore, but oh well. All versions of E-Liter main power now increases range even more, from 3% to 5% when wearing 3 Pures of the ability. This can potentially break a bunch of maps. I have no idea how many of these have been found out. They might have to change maps, or change the effect of the ability on E-Liter. Because you might not think that 3% to 5% means a lot, but E-liter is the longest range weapon in the game. So, adding on a certain percentage of what's already the longest range weapon in the game, it also gets the biggest buff in terms of numbers from getting a 3 to 5% buff in its range. So that means you can hit there. It expands the range at which E-liter can hit by a larger amount than any other weapon would get from getting the same buff in terms of percent. So this could be very scary. It's not a whole end of the world, oh no, E-liter is the best thing in the game again, because honestly, chargers are probably never going to be great, but it makes it very interesting and very easy to psych people out with. Tri-sloshers. Main power up. Got a buff to its effects. It covers more stuff. And I'm guessing that the effect provided by main power up is now more easily triggered even with fewer instances of the gear ability equipped, which is on a ton of these weapons. Basically means the scaling for the diminishing returns has changed, so you get more stuff early for lesser amounts, I guess. That's how I interpret this. Mini Splatlings. Also got a buff to their main power, which increases the duration of rapid fire. Undercover Brillas. Also got a buff. That buff, or the main power effect is... basically the time it takes for your shield to regenerate after it's destroyed. It shortens that time, so it's now shortened even more when you're wearing main power. Hydra Splatling also has got a main power buff. It got damage up, and it says it's now a lot easier. Oh, hold on. Decreased. It got... I read this wrong. It actually got a main power up nerf. Hydra Splatling gets damage up. It's possible to guarantee that you can 3-shot with it. So they actually nerfed the range, the amount of gear you needed from which to do that, which is interesting. Ballpoint Splatling got run speed and main power nerfs. Does damage at the same, has the same shot damage that Hydra does, so it got the exact same main power nerf. Run speed, I guess it just moves slower. All versions of regular dualies also got main power nerf. Yeah, same thing, because they got damage up as well, which is ridiculous at short range. Fizzy Bombs got painting nerfs, which is interesting. Torpedo got nerfed for some reason. Increased ink consumption, decreased splash damage, but also increased splash damage to bubble blower bubbles for some reason. Although, so decreased splash damage, but increased splash damage to bubble blower, which means that it deals the same damage it did to bubble blower per hit, but it deals less damage to inklings per hit. I don't know why. I kind of think Torpedo is trash. I'm sure it has a bunch of uses, but it's not that great in all honesty. Bubble Blower got a bit of a decrease to its max damage range, which is 250, which, I don't know, they could have just said lethal range, or changed the 100 damage range, because you decrease the 250 range. There are a lot of numbers in between 250 and not one-shotting, so, I don't know. And also, decreased amount of time before bubbles disappear on their own by 6%. So that's a buff. They hang out longer. Just interesting. It's kind of weird seeing bubbles continue to get buffed, but it's also cool. I like bubbles. Blah Blobber Deco got 100-point special charge nerf, 180 to 190. Custom Hydra, 180 to 190. And Ballpoint Nouveau, 190 to 200. Everything else is bug fixes, with the exception of changes to ranked battle. Weapon specifications are taken into account when splitting an assembled group of 8 players into teams for ranked, but this feature has been changed in the following ways. The number of players with crown icons in X rank will no longer have a significant impact on team breakdown. The number of players using weapons from different categories such as shooter or roller won't have a significant effect on team breakdown. Instead, the specifications for each specific weapon will be given more weight when splitting up teams. So now it's based on a weapon's individual role, as opposed to a weapon's actual class. Basically, X-rank matchmaking has been kind of fixed now. It's like, actually decent. It's not great, but I never thought I'd see the day when Splatoon matchmaking would be better than Smash matchmaking. Like, Splatoon matchmaking after the fix, even though it took a lot longer to make it, is better than Smash matchmaking after the fix. So, interesting corollary thing you got there. But with that out of the way, we can start talking about the Kensa collection stuff. Kensa collection to the wiki. I should have had this tab open already, but whatever. What do we got? Alright. I don't know if we actually went over Kensa 3. I think we did because there was a pro in it. Or no. I don't know if we ever went over Kensa 3, so I'm going to just... Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Never mind. Kensa 4. Kensa 52 Gal. Splash Wall and Booyah Bomb. This is a combination of both 52 Gals from Splatoon 1. Has the wall that Vanilla did, and the Booyah Bomb / Ink Strike that Deco did. Now, Deco had Seekers, which weren't great for 52, so... just playing a 52 with wall again is one of the best feelings. This is probably going to be one of the weapons I start going back to when I start playing again more. I enjoy it very much. Kensa Rapid Blaster, Torpedo Baller. Kensa Mini, Toxic Mist, and Ultra Stamp. I actually really like that synergy. Mist, Stamp, and a short-range weapon. Because it's like, you're going to be up close to hit someone with a Mini Splatling anyway. If you slow them down with a Toxic Mist... it's Toxic Mist on a Mini Splatling. This is basically something similar to Vanilla Mini from Splat 1, I believe. Or whichever Mini had Disruptor. And then Ultra Stamp, so it's like it's a very, very short range oriented weapon. Except for throwing the stamp, I guess. But I do think that synergizes pretty well. I don't play Splatlings, but I might try that one out. And then Kensa Gluga. I don't play Gluga. I do play regular dualies, but yeah, no. Fizzy Bomb and Ink Armor. Dualies with Ink Armor scares me. At least it's Gluga, and Gluga's like the worst dualie. But I don't really know how to feel about that, because I just generally don't like Fizzy Bomb. But whatever. In terms of main power-up, I don't know enough about it to give an opinion. It definitely didn't break the game as much as I thought it would when it was first announced. That was a pretty knee-jerk reaction. Especially since a lot of things are, like, kind of lame. Like, main power, basically what it does is it lets you indirectly buff a large amount of weapons without changing all of their individual specifications. Basically, it does nothing or something insignificant for the better weapons, and it has better effects for the worse weapons. Like, Dynamo just got a flat damage buff. Carbon got a flat damage buff. Actually, all rollers got a flat damage buff, so that's a bad comparison. But, like, Aerospray and Junior paint more. Splattershot and 52 Gal, like, Aerospray and Junior are not great, but they're also not bad. So they just got something that makes them better at their one specific niche. Splattershot and 52, which were already good weapons, got increased shot accuracy when jump firing. It's not by a significant amount, and it doesn't change the weapon as much as Jet Squelcher getting range buff, Luna Blaster getting damage range buff. Luna is actually the only blaster that didn't just get jump shot accuracy. A lot of these were just damage up, so since damage up was such a good ability in the first game, it makes sense. But basically the go-to was, if the weapon was already good, it got paints better. If the weapon was or needs something to catch up with other weapons of its class, or roll, it got damage up. Except for all dualies got damage up for some reason, which is horrifying. It's scary. And then a few other things got something more utility, or unique to that weapon, like Squiffer got range, E-Leader got range, all other chargers got damage, but I think the way that GooTuber got damage gives you something ridiculous. Like, it gives you kill charge time similar to Squiffer, I think. So, like, you're running into the problem where with damage up, Vanilla Charger was basically Squiffer and Vanilla Charger in the first game. So now GooTuber is GooTuber and Squiffer. I don't know. But then Squiffer got range up, so it now can hit at range faster than GooTuber. it's pretty interesting. I feel like there's a lot to unpack with this stuff that I've only begun to scratch the surface of. And I really, really hope I get into playing the game again, because there are a lot of changes that I want to try out. But, Smash is out, and I have my PS4 plugged in right now, so not really sure when that's actually going to happen. But, yeah. That's my opinion of the last two Splatoon 2 updates. And it's sad that we're not getting any new content. Everything else is just going to be balanced, so I don't know. I might just do these every other update now from now on, or talk about Splatfest or something, or if I just turn them into like kind of commentary vlogs about playing competitive when I start doing that more too. I don't really know. Comment if you want me to change up the format of these now that there's no new content. But yeah, next video will be Xenoblade. And until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.